saying a sequel is better than the original is not always saying that the original wasn't any good. Take Alien and Aliens, for example. Both films are phenomenal, but the sequel managed to improve on the franchise in ways that weren't able to be done when they made the first installment. Sometimes technology advances, giving filmmakers more things to work with. And sometimes the characters that have been established allow storytellers to craft even more in-depth and unique storylines without wasting time on having to tell you who the main character is. But yes, in some cases, the first one is just straight up sucky, and somehow a sequel just came along that salvaged the concept and created something iconic in that franchise. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 more sequels better than the original. Number 1, Maniac Cop 2. The Maniac Cop series follows disgraced ex-cop Matthew Cordell, who is deformed, dead, and seemingly immortal. He seeks brutal justice for all those he feels wronged him. The original Maniac Cop was released in 1988, when we already had a brooding, mindless, immortal mass murderers slashing their way through Gen Xers. The only real difference in this series is that the hulking menace is wearing a police uniform. Did it also incidentally become an allegory for police brutality? Maybe. Maniac Cop 2 certainly hints at it. Despite a straight-to-video release, critics called it an overall improvement over the original. The film even remains the fan favorite of the trilogy. Maniac Cop 2 has a bigger scope that includes more elaborate deaths, exciting action set pieces, and a couple other surprises. Bruce Campbell also reprises his role as Officer Jack Forrest, who took down the titular undead menace in the original Maniac Cop 2. Actor Robert Dizar, who plays the Maniac Cop, has a condition called cherubism, which causes abnormal bone growth in the jaw. So that enormous jawline that Matthew has is entirely real. You can watch it on Tubi, Prime, Google Play, Pluto, Zumo, Plex, Redbox, Freevee, Fubu, and Fandango. Number 2, Fast 5. While many will argue that Furious 7 is the Fast Saga's true peak, Fast 5 would come in a razor-close second. For many, Fast 5 is where the series' golden age began, so it pulls ahead of Furious 7 by just an inch for all its next-level high-octane action and nostalgic glory. Fast 5 also reflects everything we love about the Fast franchise. Furious 7's bittersweet nature, due to Paul Walker's passing during filming, may have given it a powerful extra emotional layer, but that can also make it tough to watch for those who want high-octane popcorn fun. Fast 5 opens with Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, being hijacked off of a prison bus by some of his crew, mainly Brian O'Connor and Mia Toretto, Jordana Brewster. This is actually how Fast and Furious, the fourth one, ended. Dom heads to Rio to hide out with Vince, who we haven't seen since the first installment. In Fast 5, Dom and his crew plan to steal a safe with $100 million in it from a corrupt businessman in Rio. At the same time, a no-nonsense federal agent, Luke Hobbs, played by Dwayne Johnson, is also after Dom, as he is a fugitive. Dom and Brian must assemble a team together to pull off a massive bank heist. Introducing Johnson, as Hobbs really created a wonderful new dynamic, and he chewed the scenery with his snark and charisma. The team Brian and Dom put together are all of the popular characters from other films. Many are meeting one another for the first time, so it feels like the Avengers of the Fast and Furious films. And all the old characters were further fleshed out, with the theme of family underpinning the Fast 5 for the first time since the original. Even though it's a meme now, that family motif actually elevated the film's stakes and added heart to the flick. It managed to keep that motif functioning strong in 6 and 7. Fast Five's action sequences and stunt work were thrilling, better than they had ever been. And set with this gorgeous Rio backdrop, drift on over to Peacock, Google Play, Fandango, or Prime to stream Fast Five. Number 3, Addams Family Values. 1991 saw the first big screen adaptation of the macabre hit 60s sitcom The Addams Family, about a family of lovable monsters, all with their own unique characteristics and quirks. The whole TV experience was an allegory for the importance of diversity and the value of the non-traditional nuclear family. Director Barry Sonnenfeld always made clear use of allegory while still making fun and intelligent films. His films have that ineffable movie magic feel. Men in Black is one of my favorite films after all. The casting, ensemble, and aesthetic of the 90s Addams Family films were marvelous, even from the get-go, and there's still a lot of nostalgia embedded in them. What 1993's Addams Family Values brought to the table over its predecessor was a tighter, more cohesive script, as well as a slew of quirky, entertaining side characters. One in particular is Joan Cusack as a gold-digging babysitter, Debbie, who plots to marry and murder Uncle Fester to get her hands on his wealth. And then there's a whole veritable array of goofballs in Wednesday's and Pugsley's summer camp subplot, which is amusing in itself. Also, I always give props to Christina Ricci and her portrayal of Wednesday as she slams colonialism. So as Gomez says, to mirth, to merriment, to manslaughter. Enjoy the Addams Family Values on Prime, Google Play, or Fandango. Number 4, Thor Ragnarok. I've always been defensive of the Thor films. The first one was good, the second one is underrated. Don't get me wrong, Thor The Dark World was disappointing with glaring weak points. I'm looking at you, Maniac, a poorly written villain with a wasted casting of the Ninth Doctor, the talented Christopher Eccleston. It wasn't a bad film. Both Thor 1 and 2 received decent reviews too, with Thor scoring a certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with 78%, and Thor Dark World a 67%. Audiences didn't hate the films, but after a weak response to the second installment, Marvel Studios shook things up. 2017's Thor Ragnarok dropped the more Shakespearean feel and serious tone of the first two films, and brought on auteur writer-director Taika Waititi. Waititi is best known at the time for his cult critical hit film, What We Do in the Shadows. He took the film to a more vibrant planet of Sakaar and stamped his offbeat sense of humor all over the film. Waititi also let his leads, Chris Hemsworth, who plays the titular Thor, as well as Mark Ruffalo, who first wowed audiences playing Hulk in 2012's The Avengers, have a lot of creative liberties with their characters. Thor Ragnarok was another Marvel Phase 3 team-up film, which they just nailed in that phase. Even though much of the film is improvised, it was done effectively as the character interactions and dialogue felt real. Most importantly, underneath all the silliness was heart. Thor Ragnarok was also a secret apocalypse parody as well. Critics raved about the film, and it remains one of the MCU's most beloved films. You can watch it on Disney+, Prime, Fandango, or Google Play. Number 5, Batman Returns. Tim Burton's smash hit Batman in 1989 wasn't the first time the Caped Crusader landed on the silver screen, but it was arguably the most impactful until 2008's The Dark Knight, as comic book films saw a new resurgence in the 90s, although the hits were mostly Batman films. Regardless, Burton imbued the original film with his signature style and themes. Michael Keaton, who was primarily known for Beetlejuice and Mr. Mom, was cast as a playboy Bruce Wayne alter ego Dark Knight, the titular Batman. A lot of comic nerds saw this casting as an odd choice, but they were proven wrong as soon as they saw him in cape and cowl. The performances in the original Batman, not just Keaton's, were something to write home about, as Jack Nicholson played the infamous villain, the Joker. Although typecast, he took more than a bite out of the scenery. The production design and Danny Elfman's iconic score certainly raised Batman's pedigree. 3 years later, in 1992, Batman and most of the cast and crew returned for the follow-up, Batman Returns. However, with a bigger budget and Burton in his heyday, he was given more creative control, and that, in this case, made for a better film. Though Nicholson didn't return, the addition of many new masterclass actors also managed to elevate the film beyond its predecessor. Danny DeVito plays devious Oswald Cobblepot, or Penguin, and Michelle Pfeiffer plays the clever, sensual Selina Kyle, or Catwoman. And the character building of those two, as well as the dynamic between them and Bruce Wayne, or Batman, is fun and thrilling. Each villain is well-rounded, even sympathetic, as Burton uses them to reflect on sentiments of being an outsider. The story is much more personal to Burton. Although Batman Returns has a gorgeous gothic style and feels like a comic book, it's not always for kids. Its edge and innuendos apparently crossed the line with parents in the early 90s, who took their children to see it. Unfortunately, this made WB overreact with their approach to its sequels, Batman Forever and the dreadful Batman and Robin. But you can catch Tim Burton's classic sequel on Max, Prime, Google Play, or Fandango. Number 6, Bride of Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein, which is largely an adaptation of Mary Shelley's classic Frankenstein, is a damn near perfect horror film and sequel. Released in 1935 from English director James Whale, who returned to helm Bride of Frankenstein after directing the original 1931 horror classic Frankenstein. Whale started as a stage director and moved to film, heavily influenced by German Expressionism. This is darkly humorous since he was captured during World War I and thrown in a German POW, where he would develop an interest in drama. Both Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein are expertly crafted dramas reflecting the human condition. By the time Whale got to Bride of Frankenstein, his technical craft had been completely mastered. Just like the original, the art direction is superb, and the striking imagery created by sets and low-key lighting invoke awe and fear. If the original was about the demonizing of those who are different, then Bride is about how you find love if you exist outside of societal norms. Once again, Boris Karloff delivers an exceptional performance that continues to evoke pathos. But the bride herself, played by starlet Elsa Lanchester, matches Karloff's gravitas and adds an overall new dynamic that makes Bride of Frankenstein superior to the original. Experience the classic Universal horror sequel over on Google Play, Fandango, or Prime. Number 7, Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick pulls off a rare feat. It not only elevates its predecessor, it soars above it in every manner and even excels where it exceeded at. The drama is sharper and the script is more refined. Box office wise, it blew the original out of the water and blazed into the stratosphere at the tune of nearly $1.5 billion, dwarfing the original's gross by over $1 billion. Although adjusted for inflation, the original 1986's Top Gun numbers would be roughly $1 billion. Regardless, the original is a mediocrely scripted film that happens to excel in a handful of areas, which included an impressive, even groundbreaking for the time, aerial choreography, a great soundtrack, and a charismatic lead. Top Gun Maverick also contains breathtaking aerial choreography and stunt work, a great soundtrack, and a charismatic ensemble. Tom Cruise's titular character, Maverick, is a more dynamic and overall better character in this long-anticipated sequel. He's learned, seasoned, and humble, whereas in the first film, he was reckless, arrogant, and not as charming as he thought, despite his raw talent. Maverick's character now more so resembles that of Val Kilmer's Iceman character in the original, who was supposed to be the antagonist, but was actually a good guy. Top Gun: Maverick is a good film fashioned for the largest screen possible. It is a noticeably superior film than its predecessor. The film is also literally military propaganda, as the US military provided resources and funding for the film. It glorifies war, asserts a dated status quo, and perpetrates the myth of American exceptionalism. It's undeniably entertaining though, so you can check it out on Paramount Plus, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 8, Final Destination 5. The Final Destination series is known for its gruesome, albeit creative, Rube Goldberg-esque deaths. The films are not without engaging in existential themes as well, not just about death, but the ripple effect of our actions. The franchise itself is a cut above the rest, despite its weak fourth installment, and it seemingly ended in 2011 on an incredibly high note with Final Destination 5. Final Destination 5 revolves around a group of students who survive a bridge collapse after Sam Lawton, played by Nicholas D'Augusto, has a premonition of said collapse happening. As we expected, each character that should have died is killed off one by one in some brutal, even elaborate way in the order they should have died had they ignored Sam's vision. This basic narrative structure applies to every film in the series. None of them deviate from this formula too much. Arguably, Final Destination 2 shook things up the most. In that film, death kills people in the reverse order because the original accident from Final Destination created a ripple in death's design. Final Destination 2 examines the consequences of our actions in general. The film sees death tying up loose ends. The reason audiences keep coming back to the Final Destination series is because James Wong, the originator of this high concept idea, just really fashioned an addictive formula to watch. Final Destination 5 is the most expensive film in the franchise, and director Steve Quayle, who surprisingly has worked with filmmaking titan James Cameron, makes excellent use of those funds in set pieces, visual effects, and overall production design. From a purely technical level, Final Destination 5 is genuinely superior to all the other previous installments. Picking the best deaths in the series is difficult because of the sheer volume of excellent executions. The only one in the series that made me recoil in the film, though, in a good way, so it definitely gets points for that because I am never physically reacting to any death. Let's just say it involves a gymnast. But what ultimately elevates Final Destination 5 above all its predecessors is its slam bang ending. Go watch it over on Max, Sling, Prime, Fandango, or Google Play. Number 9, War for the Planet of the Apes. After Tim Burton gave us such a divisive 2001 remake of Planet of the Apes, audiences were soured a bit by the brand despite Burton's being a commercial hit. In 2011, a decade later, a complete overhaul of the brand happened with the best results possible. Rise of the Planet of the Apes took place even before the apes evolved. The film follows a scientist, William Rodman, played by James Franco. He's had a major breakthrough in developing a cure for Alzheimer's that he was testing on chimpanzees. Rise of the Planet of the Apes was poignant, intelligent, a great balance of action, sci-fi, and personal drama. Will's motive was to help people, and his father, played expertly and sympathetically by John Lithgow, who has Alzheimer's. The ape that successfully saw cognitive improvement, Bright Eyes, got aggressive during a demonstration for investors and was shot to death. Its aggression was due to being pregnant, not the groundbreaking cure for Alzheimer's. That baby, Caesar, is whose story we follow through War for the Planet of the Apes. The environments, especially as they become more jungle for the new Planet of the Apes films, are stunning. Each film also has a new cast of prolific actors. Caesar is the product of a phenomenal motion capture of Andy Serkis. His performance was so highly praised, people were petitioning for an Oscar nod. The second film in this reboot series improved the action and scope of the first one, while examining themes of friendship and deceit. War for the Planet of the Apes increased the action, refined the storytelling, and continued to improve what were already incredible effects. The addition of Woody Harrelson, who delivered a performance as a militarized antagonist that was so viscerally menacing, was a cherry on top of an already stellar cast. And for a third go-round, the cinematography is as vivid as ever, with a score that rattles the bones. You can check it out on Fandango or Prime. Number 10, The Godfather Part II. Upon release, 1972's The Godfather was lauded as a landmark cinematic masterpiece from director Francis Ford Coppola. The film told the story of Don Corleone as he manages his criminal affairs as well as nurtures his familial community duties. Author Mario Puzo, who adapted his 1969 novel of the same name, goals, along with Coppola's, was to correct some of the mistakes of the novel and give more positive representation to the Italian community. The Godfather went on to win Best Picture in 1972 and is often cited as one of, if not the greatest films of all time. It's amazing that The Godfather Part II turned out better in basically every department. While a lot of it was fine-tuning technical aspects as well as having some breathing room with a bigger budget, Coppola and Puzo were also striking while the iron was hot. Part 2 was released just 2 years later in 1974, with Coppola returning to direct and Puzo writing with Coppola co-writing. What really makes The Godfather Part 2 an overall better experience is that it tells two engaging stories. One is Don Corleone as a young man, rising to his pedigree with honor. The second is his son, Michael Corleone, as he takes up the mantle, only to become corrupted by power. The Godfather Part 2 doesn't just tell these stories well, but a whole rousing dynamic is generated by their parallels. Don's goals were honorable, and he did what he had to protect family and community, while Michael's goals are about power and greed, which leads to violence and corruption. You can watch the classics on Fubu, Prime, Sling, Google Play, or Fandango. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.
Carry on, I love you. Don't leave me here like this.